I am doing things to the best of my ability. I will even pause the recording and switch microphones if that's possible during it recording, just because I'm conscious I want to improve the quality straight off the bat. So straight away, my mind is deviating away, but it might be for the better. Let's do it. All right, well, I've switched the mics. It seems to be working. Let's carry on. Now, the reason why I'm keeping this in and that it was intentional is I just shifted into a different state of being right then. When my mind is charged and distracted and going all over the place, that's in a certain state of being, as opposed to a regular state of being when I'm more focused on one thing and I commit to that with precision and like extreme focus on one task, one directive, and I get there quickly and efficiently without any deviations. So the deviations come in with my mind being energetically charged and creative and inspired and just coming up with ideas, and I'm just going with the flow. So me in that flow state, with my mind having different patterns and my body having different patterns, the form of me, the self and the ego, this side of things, who I am normally without any need for stimulants or energetic boosts, without getting into a high state, my normal resting sober state is that of form and self and ego. And while I paint this picture, I need to remind myself that I don't practice enough self-appreciation and self-love. And I'm hearing these words across the everywhere. And people are formulating these keys to life, in that people keep saying you can't love others unless you love yourself. So it's a self journey first and foremost. And I think most people are on that journey on different levels. Some people are just able to commit way more quickly, and discover who they are and ask all these questions and things. But yeah, getting to the point of self-love, it's appreciating who you are completely, through thick and thin, through ups and downs, from when you're sober, from when you're high, or when you're drunk, or when you're furious, or when you're, whatever state of being you are. It's all you, right? In the ways that we have defined ourselves. We have created this barrier, and we have certain mood swings and personality types and attachment styles and all of these different things that make us who we are. And they're all just stories in our minds, of course, right? But when we are going through life and we believe that, that's who we think we are. And when we're able to recognize the times that we shift through different states of being, that's all still us. But somehow there's this narrative that we've convinced ourselves of, that we go through life as one type of person, and that's it. Generally you have mood swings and highs and lows, but you're this one person. But unfortunately, that mentality has been kind of conditioned into us through a particular set of patterns that are deemed societally acceptable or normal. And that comes from a pattern of wanting safety, and so you stay within certain actions and you stay within certain behaviors to fit into your tribe, to not stand out, to wear a mask and to act and to play a role, and that's all of the persona, and that's the mode that you shift into to be safe and to fit in. So This is our default. The persona, the act, the roles that we play, the modes that we're in, that's our default as a society nowadays. In the West, I can only speak for my own kind of inner experiences. I don't know much about international cultures, but in general, I'm speaking from the Western mindset and behavioral patterns. And so what I see is this spectrum of being on this side of things within the realm of form. And the more I microdose weed and the more I notice, even when I'm not using weed, in natural states of high, in natural states of high dopamine hits, and we get natural highs all the time. We haven't really realized that they are pretty much one and the same. Just has yet to be linked up and proven by sciences and stuff. But yeah, I've been noticing it. It's the same thing. Being in a slight high is being in a state of joy, which is being in a state of synchronicity and synchronized with things. And you're in an energetic flow. And this is a different way of being. It's not the polar opposite of form, but form and flow are separate, like neighbors. They're like siblings. And then fire compromises the other to form to complete that trinity, the prime trinity. But this is getting abstract. God, I really need to get in the habit of starting recording, getting right to the point, full stop, elaborate, blah, 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 story, flow state, and then get back to the point. I need to keep doing that. The point is self-love, practicing self-love. The way that I want to practice it now is look at the work that I've been doing for Resource. The color lingo, the concept lexicon, these visual diagrams with design. These are all just methods and ways that have come. They've just been generated through a willingness to go with the flow. And in summary, that means connecting with the intuitive and autonomous parts of me underneath it all, which come out when I've been given the freedom to do what I want for a period of time. Do whatever you want, what makes you happy. And what makes me happy is piecing together a more accurate understanding of the world. And by the world, I mean our perceived experience. This world that we're living in is very limited because our perceptions are very limited, because they've been conditioned to be boxed in. And when I choose to step outside of that box, whatever that box represents, let's keep it mysterious right now. When I step outside of that box, which is to say yourself, the attachments and the obsession about the self, and you're able to more or less see different parts of you that you're like, oh, what's this? Oh, who am I? What are these boundaries that we create? And once you are able to observe the boundaries, then you go, oh, wow, I thought this was the world, and then there's more of the world out there, which is in there, in me. So the same kind of exploration that we do outwardly towards the stars, towards the cosmos, we're also doing it inwardly, not just big and small like expansive space and microscopes, But the inward journey, obviously what everyone should be more focused on. But yeah, coming back to the self-love thing, I need to appreciate the complexities that I've been tapping into in my mind, and the kind of the fear that's always there in the background, which is part of the stories that we make up, that are conditioned to keep us in that box. The fears of these, like, what if people judge me? And what do people really think of me? And so I'm all the time conditioning my awareness to be self-conscious, to always think on myself. And it puts me in a state of, like a state of survival where I have to be safe. I have to feel secure. And so the self-security and consequently insecurity all is in the domain of the self. And when you're able to keep noticing these patterns run within you, and as I've done, I've been fascinated, and I will not stop being fascinated about everything, absolutely everything, given enough resource of whatever time and energy and patience and curiosity and privilege to be able to dive into this and research it and observe it and write it down. I'm very proud of the work that I've been creating, that I've named Resource. Now, just because my fears are creeping in, like, oh, what are you going to do to commercialize this? How are you going to make this a business? How are you going to make money out of this? That's the voice that I've been trying to, like, push away, because that's of the current, but, current and old societal conditioning of keeping us locked in the self. It's keeping us locked in ways of form that we've just made up. We make up something like money, and which it drives our economy, and we see that as, we just imagine it as valuable. Oh, look at this gold, it's super valuable. Oh, let's put a price tag on it and let's build everything on it. And it's fine, it is what it is, but it's part of the sickness, because we are so attached to the concept of value and the concept of uniqueness, that we are separate, that we have something called ownership, and we are completely self-obsessed. And the negative parts and the fear-based parts that really hold us back from a truer way of being is these stories that we tell ourselves. And if they're critical to a degree that we're just shit-talking ourselves, then that's the reality, and that's the story that we believe. And that kind of narrative, that self-hate, and not necessarily hate, but it can definitely be anywhere along that spectrum, that shit talk is the ego. And it's not like to say your own voice, but it's been the societally conditioned one that we now carry within us. So there's like a collective ego that lives within us, and that has various voices from key people in our past. And then we have our personal ego, the voice that we think is ourselves, our real self. But that's just another personality within you as well. It's a lie. The self and ego is a lie. It's just a form, and it's a story that's been made up in our minds. Because as you go on, you realize, oh, if there are so many different parts of us, but we've misconstrued things a bit. Like the patterns of thinking that the world revolves around us. That's that egocentric point of view. And it's fundamentally erroneous. And it limits that central pin to be me. It's me. I'm the center of everything. And so what it comes down to is the things that we tell ourselves, the narratives, the story within our mind of the self. We're just stuck in that. And my undying attempt to recognize it first is always awareness, but then not only observe it in me, which is a reflection and vice versa of the world that I observe without, outside of me, the concept of me, and I'm able to see those boundaries just blur and burst like two bubbles coming together, intermingling a little bit, floating along together a little bit, and then they just both burst, and you realize, oh, we weren't separate, coming together and hanging out for a while, like all the different parts of us, and more abstractly, societally as well, which I'm learning along the way, that we are all one, ultimately. It just depends on what you think one means. Because one can also mean oneness, the one, God. It's, unity, it's infinity, it's zero. That esoteric, mind-blowing abstraction way of thinking is outside of form. We can't comprehend such vastness, so we can only approximate. But when you are in the box, you think one is the unit. You think one is me. You think one is separate and individual and unique. So these kind of polar opposites of the definition of one means your perspective is coming from here or here. Let me just pause. My work is fucking brilliant, and I should love myself for it. That's what I've been meaning to say. My obsessions are producing this work, and I'm getting carried away, going with the flow. And that's what keeps me darting about all over the place. But it's freaking powerful. It's joyous. It's an exploration. It's creative. It's lovely. It's fantastic. It's energizing. And it's connecting me with parts that were suppressed. And I'm loving the shifts in my state of being and my awareness to things and my intuition and a different way of being. I'm appreciating it, but at the same time, it needs to be of value. And I'm so committed to finding answers and to making sense of the world, because on the personal level, I haven't been understanding things. I'm like, why? None of this makes sense. Not in a way that's actually going to help us. So, resource is my attempt at spewing out whatever's coming through. All this intuitive creativity. It's just I'm letting it flow. And this is what resource is. It's a creative product of things that are me and also not me and also you and us, and it's that genie element. So it's all coming through. And I have to be conscious of the patterns of attachment, of ego, of possession, and just jumping onto that and claiming it as my brilliance. So no, let's get rid of the my. Let's get rid of that pattern. Let's try and give and allow things to flow and just share it freely. Let's be that change we wish to see. So as my work flows, the thing that's holding me back is the ego, is the fear within the sense of self that goes, oh, like, keep things as they are. You are this, and if you step outside, bad things will happen. Fear, danger, danger. And it's bullshit. Like, we can hear that dialogue and feel those sensations of fear and the things that restrict us and hold us back. There are inhibitors. So our inhibitions are one boundary that we feel within the body and hear within the mind. And that's the bubble of self. That's the bubble of the ego. And when you feel that boundary being triggered within you, you know that you're on the precipice between the energy that defines who you are and the energy that's bursting to come forth to just break all that away, break the shell and shift into a different state of being that's not confined to any particular box. It's not defined by boundaries. It's the free-flowing state of grace and being synchronized with whatever you need. That state of being is joy. But we don't allow for joy a lot of the time. We allow more for the ego. That's what's the trend. That's what's cool. That's the me. So as I put these words together, as they formulate different languages, different presentations through my skills being a designer and working on a visual basis to communicate more, that's what I've been doing, using my abilities as they come to create whatever this is. Whatever it turns to be. But I've got to let that out into the world to create discourse and to get collaboration. And so I'm not just repeating and spiraling into this scary area of madness. I don't want to run too far ahead that I lose touch. So that's a concern, and that's the fear voice, and that's what keeps us held back. But you've got to keep your faith in yourself, and you've got to love what you produce and go, look, this is you can't shit talk yourself. So although I do want to hear more of that validation that come from voices outside of me, outside of my experience, I want to get an objective view and get that validation, get that confirmation to say, yeah, you're doing well. Carry on. You're not going crazy. Because sometimes there is that perpetual negative story that's oh, what if I'm going crazy? What if, and that's the boundary of that ego again. That's that fear. That's that, that shackle that holds us back. And no one else hears it. It's just another limiting belief within our own experience. But we need to connect on this level and appreciate that, oh yeah, that's just another pattern that happens within all of us. And we need to, if it helps, give it a name, give it a character, point at it and go, oh, that's happening within us. Oh, that's happening within you right now. Okay, yeah, that doesn't matter. It's that's what this is, and we can move on. So right, yeah. The work I'm doing is, I feel, spot on, and it's ever unfolding, it's ever shifting, but really it needs to extend outside of just being a personal project and start flourishing into whatever it turns into. But yeah, I need to get more excited about it and less nervous about it, even though it feels like they're the same thing. Right, bye bye.